a lot of understanding when it comes to people that choose abortion or even are contemplating abortion. And especially growing up in Connecticut, growing up in a state that's very pro-abortion, where teenagers are not even required to tell their parents, where many churches are not even talking about abortion, where pastors are unwilling to even bring up the subject. It's very easy for people to be unaware. It's very easy for people to be ignorant. And so I have complete understanding when it comes to even my own parents as to why, they were almost going to make this decision, because where would they have gotten the education from? I had no clue about any of these things. And again, how would I have known? My teachers in public school in Connecticut were definitely not going to teach me about Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood and genocide.
I was raised to be deeply Christian, and I think what follows with being deeply Christian is believing in pro-life and believing in the right to life. However, once I got into the public education system, all of that transformed. I spent, I would say, from my teenage years to my early adult years believing in these radicalized feminist viewpoints, believing that it was my body, my choice. I can actually actively recall a health class in high school. It was my gym teacher turned into my health instructor, who virtually told us up until 4 months, the baby is just a clump of cells. And that was being taught in the school system. So I was learning that this is not actually a baby, it's not actually a fetus, it's a clump of cells. So that's the sad part. You're relying on an education system that's being sponsored by the government that's misinforming so many women. And then you get out into a society and you have a culture and you have celebrities that are telling you, you can do whatever you want, it's your body, it's your choice. So I transformed and I believed in these sort of leftist talking points, the indoctrination, and sort of fell for that more secular worldview. And then all of that really changed for me in my mid-20s when I realized that something was sorely amiss and that I had largely fell for what is ultimately leftist propaganda. It's easy to say that parents should step up, but in many cases you have homes where parents believe that they can trust the school systems. You send your child to school and you hope that that's the best and the safest place for your children to be, but in reality you have a bunch of adults in the school system that are taking advantage of parents' trust. So I think if there's one call to action for parents out there, it would be to get involved in your children's schoolwork. Actually learn and look at what your children are taking in these textbooks and talk to your children. Have an active conversation about their viewpoints and see where they stand on things. Because when the school system is undermining parents and trying to raise children up the way that they believe that they should be raised up, which is really just to rely upon the government for solutions, you end up with a fractured society.
Your everyday person is remarkably open to information about abortion when you just share it with them, when you just give them the opportunity to have the facts. People are really surprised. Most people have never really sat down and really considered this, and they've never really had opportunity to see the victim of an abortion, to understand what happens to that baby with a beating heart, with arms and legs and a face, what happens to them during an abortion procedure. And that's the trick. Are you given a chance to actually get this information in front of people, or are the gatekeepers that are pro-abortion keeping that information, that truth, from people? A lot has gone wrong in our schools, that they're not educating facts about human life, about what abortion is, about development of the child in the womb. A lot has gone wrong in our families, to the point where people grow up and they make choices in their life. I mean, the way we approach sex, thinking that we have the right to just have sex, or we should be having sex and not expect to have children connected to that. This complete severing that's happened between sex, severing it from marriage, from lifelong commitment and intimacy, and severing it from children, distorting the meaning of love. Love is not a feeling. Love is not about your personal pleasure. Love is about sacrifice and lifelong gift of self for another, instead of taking what you want, instead of objectifying others. So a lot goes into the abortion problem, and that's why the solution to the abortion problem is multifaceted. It is a 180 on not just seeing the child in the womb as precious, but a 180 on seeing yourself as worthy of respect, seeing yourself as precious, and seeing marriage as beautiful, and seeing sex as this beautiful design created by God for intimacy between two people, a man and a woman, and for a new human life. And until we have those shifts on how we see these things, we're going to continue to struggle with this violence of abortion.